J. Slater, Masca, and a theory that explains a lot. Hey everyone, today I want to go over a theory regarding J. Slater's disappearance, one that's purely speculation, but I think it explains a lot of the unanswered questions in this case. Now, before we dive in, let me be clear. This is not fact, just a theory based on Occam's razor. The idea that the simplest explanation is often the most likely. So let's break this down. Masca, a pirate's paradise turned smuggler's haven. Masca, where Jay was last seen, has a long history of smuggling. Centuries ago, pirates used it as a hidden location to offload cargo discreetly. The mountains provided cover, and the sea gave them an escape route. Fast forward to today, and that pirate history is eerily relevant. We know that drug smuggling by boat is a major problem in the Canary Islands. Boats and yachts are far easier to use than planes, and recent drug seizures confirm this. But here's the key question. Where do traffickers stash their shipments before moving them onto the big islands like Tenerife? Would they risk bringing in months' worth of supply all at once? Probably not. It would make far more sense to store the shipments in smaller, less policed islands like El Hierro or La Gomera, places with fewer law enforcement resources. El Hierro, in 2024, has seen nearly 20,000 migrants arriving, creating a perfect cover for drug operations. If illicit goods are already being smuggled in through migrant routes, wouldn't it make sense that nearby locations, like Masca, could be used as storage or transit points? The Airbnb, more than just a cheap rental. Now let's look at one of the most bizarre aspects of this case, the Airbnb. Why was an Airbnb in the middle of nowhere chosen? It had low accommodation standards, a sketchy listing, and was far removed from the usual party scene. For a trip centered around NRG and AU Weekender, both music festivals known for their party culture, why pick a place that made it so difficult to get back and forth? Here's the theory. Could this Airbnb have been a stash house? A drop-off point for drugs intended for the festival weekend? Stash houses typically fall into two categories: isolated hideouts, hidden away, off-grid, hard to surveil; urban strongholds, highly secured and defended. Masca fits the first category perfectly. What if this house was used to store enough drugs for the entire festival weekend? A quick 1 to 1.5 hour round-trip drive would allow someone to pick up supply and return to the festival scene without raising suspicion. Nights before, drug runs. Now let's go back to an earlier night before Jay disappeared. We know that 3 people were seen standing on the rocks, including LK, Ayub, and another person. So, what were they doing there? If this Airbnb was being used as a stash house, then these individuals could have been bringing a shipment of drugs up to the Airbnb, preparing for the festival weekend, transporting drugs from Masca down to the festival, ensuring a steady supply of product for dealers. Could these movements indicate a larger operation happening behind the scenes? Did Jay have an accident? Now let's focus on the morning Jay disappeared. If we assume Jay was involved in running drugs or money, this could explain why he was at the Airbnb in the first place, why he left so early, why some believe he was heading toward the beach. Let's say Jay was attempting to reach the beach, either to drop off unsold drugs, deliver cash, or pick up more supply. Masca is dangerous terrain. The paths are steep, rocky, and difficult to navigate. Now imagine Jay, either alone or with someone else, trying to descend a 30-foot rock face. Could he have slipped, fallen backwards, hit his head, and died instantly? If that happened, what would his companion do? Would they call for help? Probably not, especially if they were both carrying large amounts of drugs or money. Would they stick around, or panic and flee, leaving him behind? This could explain the strange circling movements of the Maruba boat near Juan Lopez Beach. Was it waiting for Jay? When he didn't show, was the operation aborted? The debt, the GoFundMe, and the nightmares they suffered. Now let's go one step further. If Jay was carrying drugs or money, and his buyers never received their delivery, what might they think? Would they assume Jay had suffered an accident, or run off with their supply/cash? If it was the latter, this could explain the rumors of a drug debt. They assumed he had stolen from them, when in reality, he was already dead. Now, if that debt transferred to his friends, they'd be under pressure to pay it. What would they do? Could this be the real reason behind the GoFundMe? Was it a way to raise money to settle a debt? And then there's the friend who supposedly had nightmares about what he saw. Did he witness a murder? Or did he simply see Jay fall to his death and the panic that followed? Final thoughts. The simplest answer? Again, this is all speculation, but it answers a lot of questions in the simplest way possible. If we apply Occam's razor, the simplest explanation is that Jay wasn't just at an after party. He was involved in something bigger. The Airbnb wasn't random. It was a stash house. His trip to the beach wasn't a mistake. It was a planned drop or pickup. His death wasn't murder. It may have been a tragic accident. The fallout from that night created rumors of a drug debt, panic, and fear. Due to the circumstances, stories had to be created and lies told, leading to inconsistencies at the start. After all, they could hardly say what Jay was doing, so needed to try and fabricate a credible narrative for the actions he took that morning. Could this be what really happened? Maybe, maybe not. But until more answers come to light, I believe this theory remains one of the most logical and simple ones out there, that doesn't rely on motives such as revenge or Jay actually trying to rip off hardened drug gangs. Thanks for watching. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments below.